Of course, we all know about his wonder goal against West Ham. We all remember his heroics in the FA Cup for Arsenal as well. But there's the European Championships this summer, and that might be the opportunity that Bukayo Saka needs to put the whole world on notice and tell them that he is the premier, or at least the number 2 right winger in the world of football. What's going on, people? It's actually Rak-Su, and today's video is going to be about a topic which I know is in everybody's group chats at the moment. Is Bukayo Saka a world-class football player? Just last week, this is what Rio Ferdinand had to say on the issue.
Let's have a look at Bukayo Saka. 23 Premier League games, which is the same. 10 goals, which is 2 more. 7 assists, which is the same as Phil Foden. Why is he not world-class?
Because I don't think he's done it at the top level, winning trophies in a team like this and been.
Is he in a team as good as Man City's team?
No, he's not. You've got to understand and respect and appreciate that Phil Foden's done this at the gritty, the where the medals are handed out. He's performed. He's done that against the best teams as well.
Now, for me, Rio Ferdinand is a legend, and I've got so much respect for him. But I feel like Bukayo Saka heard this chat, went out and scored another couple of goals on the weekend, taking his tally to 15 goals and 12 assists this season alone in all competitions. They're the type of numbers that put him in the company of Mohamed Salah, Kylian Mbappe and Harry Kane. Anytime your numbers put you in that group of players, you're definitely doing something right. I don't want to give away any conclusions here because we're going to go on a journey to discover, is Bukayo Saka world class, but those numbers are pretty strong. So Bukayo Saka is the proverbial one of our own to all of the Gunners fans out there. Coming through the academy and graduating to the first team in 2018, he actually spent a lot of his early games playing at left back. Bukayo Saka's also played at right back at times, left wing, right wing. And sometimes he's even been deployed in centre midfield, just showing his versatility and clearly that he's the type of player that has the attitude to go with the attributes with regards to making it to the top and doing whatever is necessary. In 2020, he was called up by Gareth Southgate to the England squads, and I have to admit, when he first was in the England squads, I assumed that maybe he would be a bit part player there because of his versatility, because we know that Gareth loves that. But no, Saka played right wing and he made that spot his own very, very quickly, doing what he did from Arsenal and translating that form from the Premier League onto the international stage with consistent numbers and consistent end product. Now, of course, Rio Ferdinand is an absolute legend, but when he said that Bukayo Saka wasn't world class, half of the internet went into meltdown faster than you can say banana skin slip. So clearly there was a lot of people that didn't agree with him, and it's like, what do you need to be world class? Surely it can't be you have to wait till you win the Ballon d'Or. Surely it can't mean that you need a PhD degree in football. But however, I do understand that when you look at certain players and when you look at the wingers that were, for example, in Rio's era, Saka doesn't necessarily have the same aura. Saka doesn't necessarily play with the same pizzazz, the same creativity, the same freedom. He feels like somebody who's got a really solid tactical knowledge to go with his ability and his physical attributes, and he uses those to produce on a consistent basis assists and goals. When you compare him against somebody like Phil Foden might have better highlights. For example, there's going to be more silky first touches, there's going to be more intricate 1-2s around the box. How much does that really matter, and how much does putting the ball on the back of the net or putting the ball on a plate for somebody else to do so matter? And when you're looking at the numbers and the figures, you know, Saka's really got an argument here. So what is a world-class footballer? A footballer who has the talent, skill and ability level to perform at the highest level in the world. For me, that means when you look at the biggest clubs in Europe, your Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Juventus, Manchester City, Liverpool, PSG, could you go to those teams and start? And outside the club football, when we look at the biggest footballing nations who have had recent success, your Brazil, your France, Portugal, Germany, Argentina. I like Japan's team as well, but when you look at those international countries, would you be good enough to play and start, right, for any of those countries? And if the answer is yes, that's a big tick in my book. The other thing for me is moments, right? So for me, it's important that you've done something on a stage when it matters, in clutch, crunch time, or you were consistent throughout a tournament. Do you know what I mean? Do you have that moment that marked you and said, hey, listen, I'm here. This is what I've done. Have you got some type of record where you've done X, Y, or Z? Are there some clips on YouTube of you just doing a madness that nobody else can do? And can you get into all of these other teams? So that begs the question, how does Salah fare right now against his contemporaries in other top clubs across Europe? Let's have a look at it. Number 1, Liverpool. Mohamed Salah, who currently this season has 19 goals and 10 assists. That's ahead of Saka. We probably say that Salah would start ahead of Saka for Liverpool. We've got Real Madrid. Starting right wing a lot of the time for them is Rodrigo. He's 23 years old and his stats this season are 13 and 7. If you were going to be completely honest and you asked Ancelotti, he would turn around and say that Saka would probably start over him. So Saka would probably start at Real Madrid. Bayern Munich, they've got the 28-year-old Leroy Sané. Sometimes he does start in a kind of number 10 role, but we're going to use him anyway as probably their most potent attacking threat outside of Harry Kane right now. And Leroy Sané's got 9 goals and 12 assists this year. Again, it's close, it's tight. If you ask Thomas Tuchel, would he switch somebody out? Maybe the fact that Sané knows the system so well and he's at home there. But Saka's got 6 more goals this season than him. 6 more goals. And I believe that Saka works harder defensively and probably has a bit more tactical discipline. Could Saka start for Bayern Munich? In my opinion, yes. Then we go to PSG. We've got the 26-year-old ex-protege who is Ousmane Dembele, obviously at Dortmund at one point and then at Barcelona where it didn't quite work out, and now he's back in his native land. And for Ousmane Dembele, he's currently got 1 goal this season and 10 assists. Now 10 assists is a great return for a winger. That's actually really, really good. But 1 goal probably isn't cutting it, especially when you're playing in France as well. If the question is, would Saka start for PSG? 100% he would make that right wing spot his own. But Barcelona, one of the giants of European football, even though they're going through a tough time at the moment, for them, their most potent right winger is probably Lamine Yamal. So much talent, he's probably going to be in the Ballon d'Or conversation himself one day in the future. And I don't think we'll be asking, is he world class for that long? But right now, Lamine Yamal's got 5 goals and 6 assists. That pales in comparison to Saka. Saka would start for Barcelona right now. Then we've got Chiesa, the 26-year-old, playing out in Juventus. At the moment, Chiesa's got 6 goals and 2 assists. He's a really good player. Great quality, but again, nowhere near Saka's numbers. He'd be starting for Juventus immediately. Then we go to Manchester City, and this is where things get really spicy and where this conversation started in the first place, right? And that's because we've got Phil Foden. And Phil Foden actually has 15 goals and 10 assists. So Foden's got the same amount of goals as Saka and only got 2 assists less than him, which is why it's such good competition and a real headache for Gareth Southgate as well. But going through that list where we've spoke about the top clubs in Europe and who they've got there right now, besides Phil Foden at Manchester City and Mohamed Salah, right, at Liverpool, for everyone else, I think it's pretty obvious. Saka would start. Leroy Sané, again, I think there might be a question, but Saka would be starting at these teams. And that probably translates to the international scene as well, where I'm going to ask you guys a question. What countries could Bukayo Saka not start for? As far as Saka's legacy goes, because I think over the next couple of years, there's going to be some big opportunities for him to define himself truly in that upper echelon bracket. We've seen the graphic going around of Saka's first 210 games being compared to Cristiano Ronaldo's. Saka's numbers are actually better, but when you look at Cristiano's career trajectory, it's actually what he did after he arrived there, where for the next 4 years, he did an absolute madness. I think between 2009 and 2013, he scored over 200 goals and actually registered over 50 assists as well. That's the leap we need Saka to take. Of course, we all know about his wonder goal against West Ham. We all remember his heroics in the FA Cup for Arsenal as well. But there's the European Championships this summer, and that might be the opportunity that Bukayo Saka needs to put the whole world on notice and tell them that he is the premier, or at least the number 2 right winger in the world of football. I have a sneaky suspicion that he might just go and do that. And if it's not the European Championships, we still have the Champions League. And luckily for him, Arsenal was still in that competition. And we all remember that night years ago when a young Gareth Bale was thrown onto the left wing against Inter Milan and absolutely roasted a legend in Maicon. And from then, we looked at Gareth Bale differently. It seemed like Bale looked at himself differently, and a new story was written, and Bale became the legend that he went on to be, with his 4 Champions Leagues, leading Wales to their most successful spell ever, and just being a great golfer too, right? So when we look at it like that, and you take that into account, Bukayo Saka might only be one moment or one game away from completely changing the way that people look at him. So what is my verdict? Is Bukayo Saka a world-class player? In all honesty, for me, I have to say yeah. By my own metrics, if you put Saka in any other top team across Europe or the world on the international stage, he would be starting, except for maybe 2, 3 places. So as a result of that, I believe we've got to give Saka the status of world class. But some people aren't going to be prepared to do that yet. So Saka, if you come across this video somehow really randomly, or your little cousin shows it to you, just know you are one moment away from jumping into that upper echelon and making Rio Ferdinand have to give you an apology. And personally, I can't wait to see it. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Saka's world class? How do you guys define world class? What makes a world class player to you? If he's not, who are the world class right wingers in the world right now? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about, and I'll speak to you guys soon.